as you could tell by the title, to just talk about my birth story as briefly as I can. You're gonna hear a lot of cooing and eyeing and even maybe like a little whining, fussiness. There it goes from my little ones. I had twin boys, and so there's nothing I can do about them making a little noise throughout the video. If they get too bad, I'll try to like calm them down. And then later on in the video, I'll go ahead and hold them up for you guys. One of them wants to say hi now, but I kind of want to get into the story, so hopefully I can get him to nap a little bit, because it's really hard to sit down and film, which is why I haven't been filming for the past month and a half. So I appreciate you guys' patience, and I'm ready to start producing some content. I wanted to start with this just because obviously this is like the new thing that's happened in my life, and that I know a lot of you were really happy and very supportive and kind during my pregnancy. So I wanted to come back and at least update you guys, just say we're doing good, as well as tell you guys about my birth story with them. So I hope you enjoy this. Most doctors are not even comfortable delivering one breached baby. They may attempt, if the first baby to come out is head down, they definitely may attempt it for you if they're comfortable with that. But it seems like most of the places, most of the hospitals, most of the doctors in my area, especially like the hospitals, they're going to push for a C-section if both babies are not head down, which is what I was told at the beginning of my pregnancy. And I waited it out, and the baby still ended up being transverse and breached, so bottom down for baby A and then B transverse. And so at 37 weeks, there was no change, and I just accepted it. Of course, I would have liked to, have my victorious vaginal birth with my babies, but at the end of the day, I wanted them here healthy and like not all dinged up and scratched up, from someone trying to turn them and so. And I just didn't want like this dangerous situation. Not that there's nothing dangerous about C-sections or nothing can go wrong, but it's definitely a faster process, and they just whisk the babies. Like once they get you open, they take those babies out, and it's a pretty fast process once like the surgery starts. So I had them on November 28th. It was a Tuesday, and of 2017, this past year. So Happy New Year, actually, guys. I didn't really say much of a greeting, but so I had them on a Tuesday, the 28th of November, and we scheduled it. I scheduled the C-section with my doctor like right at the end of my 36th week. So I knew I was getting the C-section for about a week before I got in, and I just had that amount of time to like really make peace with it, because somewhere in my mind I was thinking, no, they're gonna both turn for some reason. And I was like reading like what's the latest they can turn. Some people were like lucky enough for the babies to like turn at the last, like not the very last minute, but maybe like in that 35 or even that 36th week. But it just hadn't happened, and I knew it wasn't gonna happen. They didn't have the space to do so. So I show up to the hospital on the 28th for my scheduled C-section. I made it, no water breaking. I didn't even, my cervix was still closed. Labor, I wasn't going to labor anytime soon, like on my own, it looks like. And a good gestational age for twins is like 37 weeks. Like that's like a sweet spot, just to make sure that their lungs are developed enough and they're going to be able to thrive on the outside and probably not need like lots of special care. 37 weeks is like that dream number for twins, especially like my type of twins, which are like fraternals. They had their own sacs and own placentas, and so they were able to get to the 37 week, and I actually was 37 weeks and 5 days, so it was almost 38 weeks. So I was very happy with that, very proud of that. So regardless of getting the C-section, I just really was like, you know, get my babies here. So something about having like a scheduled C-section, I don't know, for me it gave me time to like just make peace and know the date my babies are gonna be here and pray about that day and stuff like that. So I actually was fine with it. Once I got to that day, I was just very calm. The nurses were great. My doctor came and stopped by before the surgery happened, like an hour before, when they were just kind of monitoring me and getting me hooked up to my IVs and everything. Everything was just like peaceful. And I was nervous, anxious, but it was like, that was like in the back, like of my mind. I guess that it wasn't like the heightened part of my senses. I was more so like just at peace and ready to meet my boys and trying not to like just cry about it and, you know, be too overly emotional. The father, we prayed together right before they wheeled me off to go to the surgery. I was just so done. I felt like it was a little freaky being rolled out there, and then like showing up to this like sterile, you know, room, bright, clean. I guess I was cold. It's like hard for me to remember. It's been 6 weeks now, and certain details of that day definitely fade. So I just want to reassure you guys that are pregnant now, you know, if you have great doctors, which you probably you definitely should. I'm sure you, hopefully you're with doctors and hospital that you're and around, and research the staff and know that you're going to be comfortable, because like literally they just whisk through everything and your babies are here in no time. So it's really fuzzy. I'm hoping to just kind of give you as much details as I can though. So I get in the room. My husband has to stay outside of the room. He puts on some scrubs, and then they bring me and have me sit up on the operating kind of table thing. Like, it's not a table, I guess it's like a bed. I really can't even remember. I'm gonna tell you this. Once they gave me the anesthesia, I believe I got like a spinal block, is what it's called. And honey, after that, I was just glad that I do distinctly remember parts of when they pulled my sons out and everything and how like I felt. I'm just glad I was able to be awake, but other like small details, it's really fuzzy. Like it was almost immediately fuzzy. Like all I could just really focus on the whole time is like, please let my babies come out and be crying and all that stuff. So I set up at the edge of the table bed thingy or whatever that I was going to be operated on, and the anesthesiologist had introduced himself when I was just in one of the regular little hospital rooms, getting set up and prepped. So he came in, and the nurse, one of the nurses, had me lean forward and place a pillow by my tummy, and she also supported me and stood in front of me and just kind of talked me through everything that the anesthesiologist was doing, which was really helpful, because instead of me just like waiting for it and wondering how it's gonna feel, she kind of tried to describe it as it was going on. So I really appreciated that, and I guess me listening to her voice kind of describe the things, it kind of brought my anxiety down and made me feel like, well, yeah, that's not that bad. Yeah, you're right. It does feel like a little sting, or, you know, a little, almost like a really cool shot sensation that almost kind of burnt, like for the, when they go to numb it, is like probably the worst part, and it's not even like bad at all. I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but I know when something like really hurts, it does not really hurt. So that was awesome. And then immediately I could feel like the sensation of just going numb, like coming from like my toes to my calves to my thighs. Like, see, now I could remember that because I was just like, this is crazy. And they lay you back And my nurse brought me a warm blanket because it was chilly. Wasn't shaking too bad, but it was cold. And so she brought me like a warm blanket, or a couple of them, and put them around my neck and one across, I don't know, maybe not too much across my chest, but maybe just from around here, and snuggled me in it. And then I was like laying back. Your arms are not strapped down at this particular hospital. I'm not sure if they even do that anymore. You just lay them out to the side, and your head is kind of slightly, your head is not just like, you're not just feeling like flat looking up at the ceiling. Well, kind of, but it is kind of tilted up. The little headpiece that they have is kind of tilted up a bit, so that you don't feel like you're just laying back flat, like I said, staring at the ceiling. So then my husband was allowed to come in the room after, I'm already numbed up and laid back and ready to go. I hear my doctor enter the room, and my husband appears to my side, and he is just kind of like rubbing my head, and I look at him, and like one single tear falls, and I already feel like so overwhelmed, like that I can like really like vividly remember it, and it like makes me want to cry like now, but I'm not, because I want to get through this. But yeah, so I literally like dropped one tear, and my heart was just racing, but I just feel so happy, and like everything's gonna be fine, and they're gonna be healthy. I'm gonna make to see the little faces. And literally, as I'm like thinking all this, and I was like, I was kind of out of it a little bit, but I was still like feeling all these things. And I was like telling my husband also, like trying to tell him like, or ask him like, are you happy? They're gonna be here in just a little bit. And he was like, yeah, I'm happy. And I think trying to like he's anticipating them coming out or whatever. And so literally within like 2 minutes maybe, I could feel them. It's hard to describe because it's almost like you can't feel anything. And so you can't feel anything, but you have a sense, you have a sense that they're moving you around. Like, I don't know, because I can't really say it was like, I know some people say you can feel the tugging, but I guess slightly, I guess. Like a very minimal feeling, like if any, like as far as feeling like pressure of them moving me around, like or the doctor reaching up to grab the second baby or anything. Like it numbed me, and it numbed me just perfect, because I know that the anesthesiologist had mentioned that he didn't, obviously I still needed to be able to breathe. If they were gonna allow me, if the anesthesia worked well, I should still be able to breathe. It should only, numb me from like this tummy down, basically. And that's exactly what it did, because he did test it. I did leave that part out. He did test me with the sharp, I don't know what it was, I don't know. It felt kind of like a scalpel, I don't know, on the other parts of my body that weren't as numb, once he got like here, and he's like stabbing me almost with it. Well, it felt like that because everything else was so numb, and he did it with like the same intensity all over, from like the toes and thighs and everything. But like once he got to the parts that weren't numb, like I literally was like, oh no, okay, well I can feel that. And he's like, okay, good, like perfect. But I was just laying there when he was on the areas that aren't intended to be numb, obviously. So they started the surgery. My husband's here. The doctors, obviously already came in, and she's sitting, and I couldn't even see her. There was this curtain. It's like a green tarp thing, that they put up. It's like a paper style, thing. The same materials that they use for like their mask or whatever. So they pull up this green curtain for you, and you don't get to see anything. Your husband doesn't see anything. Your significant other doesn't see anything. And then literally for me, within 2 minutes, I'm just laying there. I swear I was talking to my husband, and then they said, all right, twin one is out. And I like turned my head back up, and I'm just like, wait, what? I didn't hear crying like right initially, so I was just like, do you see him? Do you see him? Like, what's going on? And then I heard his cry, and all was right in my world. Like, I don't know, I was like, and I just knew baby B, my second boy, was gonna be okay. Like, we pulled twin A out, and my husband walks over with our camera and he takes pictures. They weren't allowing him to do video in the operating room, so he went over and he took some pictures. And like I said, once baby A came out and they got him to cry, or maybe once they start clearing out his passages and stuff with the little bulb, like, he started crying, and a strong cry, and I just knew, like I said, my other boy is coming out and he's gonna be fine too. And so they go in and they're pulling my second baby out, which his name is Zane. So my first baby, I didn't even mention names. My first baby, his name is Roman, and they pull him out and they're like, oh, little cute, like runt. He was 4 pounds and 14 ounces, so right under 5 pounds. And then they go in and they go to grab baby 2 a minute later. And I knew, like, that's accurate because they literally were born a minute apart. So just so fast. They pull my second baby out, and his name is Zane. And he gave out like a really strong cry, and to this day, till this 6-week mark of their existence, he is like, he got those lungs. He can wake you up from a great dream, and like startle you. He's a screamer. So he was screaming, crying, and then my husband, once again, he's just standing back by where they were kind of wiping him off and everything, and starting like warm him up and stuff, and check their vitals and all that other stuff that they do on the back of you. And I kind of like try to tilt my head back, but it wasn't working too well. I could like kind of see some, just people moving around. I couldn't really see my babies. I could see that there were just these light little beings back there, but I couldn't really focus on them. And obviously I was under the anesthesia too. So then I guess they did all their stuff, is like grabbing the placentas out, and everything. And the doctor says, congratulations, and she leaves, honey. And I don't even think she came around the curtain to say congratulations or pat me or anything. She like left, okay? And the doctor who delivered me saw me most of my pregnancy. She's my OB, so which is obstetrician, which is your labor doctor that sees you for your wellness visits and everything. So she's great, but she was gone, okay? In a heartbeat. Like, she came in, did that surgery in 5 minutes, within 5 minutes, and then she was gone, like a ghost. Like, she was never there. And which is why you'll hear a lot of people saying, like, labor and delivery, like, you're gonna get to know and rely on like your nurses much more than like the doctor. The doctor has one job, to deliver those babies, and that's it, which she's great at it. She did a great job. So she disappears, and then they bring the babies briefly by my head, and they're both whimping, and I can see them, and I'm like, oh, my babies. Like, it just felt so good, like, that they're here. And I don't know, just like the whole pregnancy and like kind of getting like tiring at the end, everything just fades, and your babies are here and nothing else matters. So then, like, they whisked my husband off and the babies to the recovery room that they were gonna send me to after they kind of patched me up. I was like all watery-eyed, teary-eyed. The anesthesiologist, he actually stayed into the end. Nice man. He kind of like patted my head and was like, everything is great. That went so well. And this was great, like, as great as it could go. And, my blood pressure didn't like drop in during surgery, which I heard can like happen. I I didn't feel sick either while the surgery was going on, or after the anesthesia, like right after that, getting the anesthesia and going through the surgery. Like, I didn't feel sick, how some people may, get nauseated and stuff. Like, I didn't. I'm not quite sure if he just added some stuff, because I know they can add stuff to your through your spinal block to like make sure that you don't you don't feel nausea and stuff like that. But I didn't ask for anything because I didn't feel anything, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I didn't see him doing or adding anything. So or he was kind of stepped. He was out of the picture while they were doing the surgery. He was in the room, but out of my frame of sight. So he wasn't, he was just waiting, and kind of maybe if I had reacted in a certain way, then of course he would have stepped in. But I didn't feel nauseated or anything. I just felt like a little loopy, but that's to be expected. And so they patched me up. Everything goes silent, like the hustle and bustle of like the room. There's just so many people in the room, especially for twins. There's pretty much like a nurse, a pediatrician for each, and so the doctor, and then the anesthesiologist, and I don't know, like it was quite a few people in there. I didn't really take the time to look around and count and stuff, but I just focused on main people, my doctor, anesthesiologist, and then like the two nurses that I had seen and gotten to meet before the surgery. So then once they patched me up and everything, and I tell you, like, it was like overwhelming, but it's so much more peaceful than I could have like even imagined. And I'm very thankful for that. Like, I'm like, not that, it's a bad thing if people are having these experiences, but a lot of the C-section stories, like, the women are just, all they can recount is like so much anxiety around having the surgery. And I'm sure that happens a lot more for when your surgery is not scheduled and you have to get an emergency C-section. There's a lot more anxiety then, and maybe things that can be crazy and rushed and not feel right. But a scheduled C-section, I don't know, I just feel like if you got the right, if you're in good hands, and you should be, especially with the hospitals have to be at like a certain standards and stuff, you should be fine. Like, so I was really happy with it. And that's my birth story, guys. I hope this wasn't too long. I feel like I kind of rambled through, but I really wanted to give this to you in its entirety. It was not bad. I don't know. For a C-section, it was as perfect as it could be. And a lot of things are perception, how you look at them. So I don't know, it went good. So that's my birth story, and Roman and Zane are here, and I'm just gonna like briefly show them to you. Actually, this is my firstborn, technically, by a minute. This was the 4 pounds and 14 ounces, and he is 8 pounds now, and 8 pounds and some ounces, so he's pretty much double his birth weight already. And I am just in love with him, and I'm gonna put him back down now, but I wanted you guys to kind of just briefly see each one of them, and I put them both in the same shirt, so you'll see Zane in the same shirt. And this is Roman, and I will speak for him and say it's nice to meet you guys. He's gonna open it up for you guys. This is my chubby man. I didn't even say how much he weighed at birth. It was 6 pounds and 7 ounces, and now he was 9 pounds and 13 ounces when we went to this most recent pediatrician visit, which was just a few days ago. So he's probably like 10 pounds. He's heavy, okay? My arms are not gonna be able to take this. So we're gonna get real independent real quick, because I have 2 of them, and they are just rapidly growing chunky things. So yeah, this is him. This is Zane. Hi, Zane. He's like, Mom, why? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Okay. So that's it, guys. You've met the boys briefly, and like I said, you can follow me on social media in Teeth Codes World if you want to just see more of them more often. And now I'm gonna go ahead and get them fed and move on with the day. This was tough enough with 2 newborns. I'm ready to like share more content around like surrounding them and being like a new mom and stuff. I do have some content that I want to share, so I'm gonna go though. I'll see you guys in my next video.